Hi, just wanted to do a quick video on King James Bible, and I did a video a few days ago, about things that have strengthened my faith. And one of the things that have strengthened my faith is going back to the King James Bible, the 1611 King James. And I can go through lots of different verses that have been removed in the new versions or questioned. Classic verses like Acts 8:37, Philip is with the Ethiopian eunuch. That verse has been removed, or certainly put in italics in some versions, to question whether it was there in the oldest manuscripts, which I believe that it was. And I believe because it's in the King James Version, it was meant to be there, because I believe that the King James Version is absolutely God ordained. So over the weekend I was reading the Bible, and I've been at David's Tent, which is a Christian worship, praise and worship event for 72 hours straight through, Friday through to Monday. And during that time, obviously, you're in the presence of God, you're in the Holy Spirit, and I really believe that God reveals and revealed things in the Bible, gave revelation about the Word. And one of the things that really jumped out at me, if you want to put it that way, was in Acts chapter 1, where the writer is saying that Jesus appeared and showed himself alive after his death and obviously his resurrection. And in the new version, well, I'll tell you what it says in the KJV, because it jumped out at me. It says, he gave us many infallible proofs. And I was like, wow, infallible proofs, love it, love it. And when I got back yesterday, Monday, I looked it up in the NIV. And do you know what it says? It says he gave us convincing proofs. So if I said to you, I've got fairies, pink fairies at the end of my garden, and I've got convincing proofs, you'll be like, well, convincing, Andy's gonna convince me about it, or things that are going to make me believe it. If I said to you, I've got infallible proofs, you'd be like, whoa, hang on a minute, he's making a claim there that these are without error, that these are absolutely provable and beyond a doubt. So, which is very, very different from convincing proofs. And I just wanted to point that out. The more I'm reading the King James Version, and then I'm going back to the NIV, the more I'm realizing how many changes there are and how significant those changes are. And they've really, really brought doubt into people's minds about the person of Christ, the death, the resurrection, and ascension of Christ, and lots of doctrine issues. So I'm not going to labour the point, but that verse just jumped out at me. It's in Acts chapter 1, I think it's verse 6 or 7 or something like that. And infallible proofs, without error, as opposed to convincing proofs. Maybe it's a subtle difference, maybe it doesn't mean a big thing to you, but I think it's quite significant. And a friend of mine came up yesterday as well, and we hung out, and he had noticed something in the new versions where it said Jesus did all these things in the new versions, whereas in the KJV it said Jesus did these miracles. So again, it's downgrading miracles to things. Now, of course, the reason that the new versions have to use different words is because they have to use a certain percentage of different words for it to be classed as a new translation. And so when they do this, then they can copyright it and they can get money for that copyright and that translation. So what's the motivation for it? Is it to modernize and make it more understandable, or is there a more an intent which is more nefarious? If it's money, then it's obviously not good. So I'm just saying, I've gone back to the KJV. I would advise everybody to get themselves a King James Bible 1611, not a new King James, because that's been messed around with too. Get a King James Bible and start reading it again, and see and feel your faith growing and being built up again, because you know that this is the best translation we have in English. And in my opinion, and hopefully you'll come to this conclusion as well after reading it, it is ordained of God. That book and those words in that book were ordained of God. Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm going to say adios amigos, ciao ciao, bye bye.